Hey everybody, it's Magic Prepper, and I wanted to share this gun myth or even a lie that you're sold on when it comes to buying a new firearm. And this happens to brand new gun owners all the time, especially at big box stores. And I wanted to expose this situation because a lot of people fall for it, and it's not the best advice, at least in my opinion. And I'm someone who fell for this gun lie as well, which cost me a lot of money and time that I shouldn't have had to spend if I would have been given proper advice. But unfortunately, this is a sales tactic that's used to sell you guns that might not actually provide you with what you need. And that's a problem. So I do want to mention that Midway USA is the biggest supporter of the channel. Thanks to them, I can get out here and give you this information, share my honest opinion, and of course, they have a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about in this video today. So big thanks to Midway USA. Now, what gun lie am I referring to? I hear this in the comments all the time. I hear it given as advice to people who are looking to purchase their very first handgun on a regular basis, and I disagree with it, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's this particular lie. Find what fits your hand best. What feels the best in your hand? Go to a gun range, rent 17 different pistols, and whichever one you think feels the best and you shoot the best, that's what you should buy. Not good advice. Sorry, let me know in the comments if you think that's bad advice, because I certainly do, but I'm gonna actually give you some reasons to why I think it's bad advice, and then we can talk about whether or not you agree with me. So, I was told this exact advice. Like I said, this is a sales tactic. Think of it as a test drive for a car that you're gonna go purchase at a car dealership, right? Oh, put it in your hand, how's it feel? Oh, you like the way it feels? Well, don't you wanna take it home, right? Very similar to getting in that car and hitting the gas for the first time and realizing it's better than your old piece of crap. So, why is this bad advice? Because it sounds like it would make sense logically. Well, here's the thing. This right here is a Glock 19X or Glock 45, whatever you want to call it. Let me tilt these pistols a little bit in the other direction so I don't flag myself walking over here to you. Okay, this is my daily carry, right? Maybe not exactly what most people would assume would be a good daily carry, but for me, it works perfectly. This is not the first gun I bought. This is not the second gun I bought. This is not the 10th gun I bought, right? This took a lot of trial and error to get to finally realize that what I needed the whole time was something extremely basic. A Glock 19X or 45 or 17 frame, 19 slide, whatever you want to call it, right? A very universally supported platform. Why is that it took me so long to get there? Because I took the advice of, if it feels good in your hand, that's the right gun for you. My first handgun was a Smith & Wesson 686 Pro Series Plus, right? A 7-shot 357 Magnum revolver with a 5-inch barrel that I couldn't find holsters for, that I couldn't reload easily, that I couldn't afford the ammunition for as easily. There was a lot of failures there. And that's the problem with that advice. They're not setting you up for anything past getting out of the store and them keeping your money. They're only setting you up for the comfort of the pistol. So what's a good example of that I have here on the table, okay? And all these guns are actually pretty good guns, but they're just maybe not all what I would suggest a new gun owner to buy. Here's an example, okay? This right here, and let's go ahead and show you, nothing crazy going on here, okay? I know you saw the manual safety, it was off, but it was unloaded. But either way, Kimber Raptor 2 stainless 10mm, right? Don't worry about the brand. Don't worry about the chambering or anything like that. A 1911. This is a full-size 1911, okay? This feels really good in my hands, right? Wow. The grip angle, the narrowness of the grip. What a great gun in my hand right now. I'm a brand new gun owner. Well, if you love the feel of that gun in your hand, it's probably what you need to take home with you, right? 2 world wars. You can't go wrong. Okay. Except, here's a problem, okay? First off, I don't have double stack magazines, and I'm not probably getting a 9mm, likely a 45, but in this case a 10mm. And the ammo is going to be more expensive. But hey, let's say you do get a 9mm. Okay, now I have half the capacity in some cases, or maybe 2/3 of the capacity of a modern double stack pistol, right? But let's not also forget the fact that this particular 1911 has no light rail and no optics cut. And in 2024, a lot of people, especially new shooters who haven't had iron sight experience their entire life and are starting out on a brand new platform would really benefit from having a red dot sight. And if they can start by training with that, that's going to help them a lot in the sense of building good habits. But because of how this 1911 felt in my hand, I don't have access to red dot sights unless I start getting all into accessories or adapter plates or even customization. Is that something you should expect a brand new gun owner to do, or even to look into, or know where to even start looking? I would say no. So this gun isn't going to be able to have a light, isn't going to be able to have a red dot. It's gigantic, so they're probably not going to want to carry it. It's heavy, so they're not going to want to carry it for that reason as well. And it's probably not going to be as comfortable to shoot. And like I said, if it's anything other than 9mm, they're going to spend more on ammo than what they probably needed to spend. But that's the gun that that gun store would let you go home with because you said it felt great in your hand, right? I guarantee you that gun owner is going to eventually have to just go buy another gun anyway. They're going to be like, you know what? I think having a light would be a good idea for low light conditions. You know, I think I want to try a red dot optic. You know, I think I need a gun a little smaller so I can actually conceal carry, or just something that doesn't weigh as much so that it's easier to tote around. All those things would come into play. Now, what's another example where this would happen? M9A4 from Beretta. Beautiful gun. I love this gun. Reliable, durable, extremely just nice looking, right? I love this gun, okay? This is probably the best feeling gun in my hands that I currently own. This feels so good. The ergonomics are so on point. There's nothing to complain about at all. What an excellent gun. Has the military pedigree. It was extremely reliable. But we got a problem. It's really big. It's got a 5-inch barrel. It's a threaded barrel, so it's got a thread protector on the ends protruding out of what's already a long slide. It weighs more because it's got a metal frame, and it's complicated. It's a double action only, well, it's a double action, single action, but with a decocker that's not a safety. So now it's getting complicated. The other thing to keep in mind is that the magazines are good magazines, but definitely not the cheapest out there either. So this has red dot optic capability. This has rail for lights and everything else. And it is a modern pistol that has military logistics behind it. Seems like a good idea, seems like a good suggestion. And in fact, I would never tell someone not to buy an M9 variant of some kind unless it's their very first gun. Because just like with the 1911, that gun owner is probably going to figure out that they probably wanted something lighter and slightly smaller so they could either eventually carry it or even just have something that's easier to transport. Plus, the magazines are expensive and it's just a big, heavy gun. So the system is complicated. Teaching a brand new gun owner how to deal with decockers and the difference between double action and single action and how they're going to have to stage the trigger and all that other stuff is asking a lot in comparison to what a lot of other offerings have these days, okay? So this gun would have came home with me if I was a brand new gun owner because of how good it feels in my hand based on that advice. And I shoot this gun really accurately and really well. So even based on the advice of going to rent a gun and then shooting it and then seeing what do you shoot the best and what feels the best, this would have been the gun I bought. And then 6 months later, I would have had to buy another gun. Because you know what? This one is just really big. I can't conceal carry this. You know, there's some issues trying to find a holster in the sense of, you know, if I want to run a light or not, if I want to run an optic or not. I think I just need to get another gun now, right? Was that the best advice then? Okay, let's see here. Let's do another one. Okay, here's a really good one. SIG P320. This is the M18 contract overrun, right? In a Wilson Combat grip module. This is the grip module that it originally came with. This is one of those situations where you have a couple of problems. One, this gun feels really good in my hand, but only after I swapped the grip module from the factory one, okay? This one, it works. It actually doesn't feel terrible in my hand, but compared to the Wilson Combat, this thing is a brick. So now we're talking about a modularity system that you would have to go explore and have to purchase additional components and try out different grip modules before you find one that does actually feel good in your hand. And once you do, you might be happy with it, but at the store, you might think that this is a bad gun in the sense of it doesn't feel that great in my hand without even realizing you have the option to swap it to something completely different. The other thing about a P320 that I'm just gonna say, and you guys can tell me how you feel about this in the comments, I wanna know, okay? This is a good gun. This one is. This particular one is, okay? I'm not gonna suggest a P320 to a new gun owner for their first gun, ever. Why is that? Oh, because if you drop it, it'll go off, or it'll shoot when you don't want it to, or it'll shoot by itself, so you don't even have to pull the trigger. I get it. We've had enough. Okay. Here's the thing. This gun has so much controversy around it that I would steer a brand new gun owner away from it, because they're going to go online to research stuff about their gun, probably grip modules, to see what else is out there options-wise in order to maybe get something more comfortable for them, and realize that there's lots of talk about safety issues. And then those safety issues are blown out of proportion in some ways, and in some ways have valid reasons to be there and valid concerns that exist. And that person is suddenly going to have a lot of issues with confidence in the firearm that they chose. Now, as a seasoned gun owner, there's a lot of experience and information that you've learned over the years that could help guide you in the right direction when it comes to dealing with all those controversies. But as a brand new gun owner, not only do you have a complicated system of, so I can have a manual safety or no manual safety and swap it into one grip and not the other grip based on which one I have, and all these other things, right? And then I'm trying to find the most perfect feeling gun, because that's the advice I was given, to find one that feels the best in my hand. So I just spent $300 on different grip modules just to find out the original one was still the best for me, right? So that's part of the problem. But then for them to have to go start researching that and then realize there's all this talk about how that gun is going to go off and blow their leg off or blow their junk off because it's unsafe and all this other stuff, they're going to lose confidence really quickly in that gun. And I have never had an issue with a P320 personally. But look, I understand that there's concerns there. And why would I point a brand new gun owner who's never even bought a pistol before towards a gun that might inspire a lack of confidence in that person as soon as they walk out of the store, right? But it actually might be the best feeling gun that they held in their hand that day. Especially like the X-Carry grip module. That's a really comfortable grip module. The Wilson Combat grips are excellent. There's some other really good ones out there too. And they feel really good in your hand. But that person is not going to feel good about what they purchased once they bring it home and start searching the internet about all the cool stuff they get to do with their new P320. Now, P365, different story, probably no issue there. But now we're talking about, something that's smaller, snappier, maybe not quite up to the same level of, duty quality unless they get an X macro. But then they get an X macro and realize that there's all these other configurations and modular aspects that they weren't aware of before. You understand what I'm trying to say, okay? So let's go with another one, which would be a really good suggestion, but doesn't go past the gun store when it comes to helping that person become a new shooter or helping that person get involved with holsters, options, accessories, any of that other stuff, right? So right here, we've got an HK USB compact, okay? Yes, yeah, the guns are unloaded, okay? I know everyone freaks out about that. Not sure why, okay? USP, one of the most reliable, most durable pistols ever tested by the military, by police, by anyone in the world, right? No one will argue that this is a bad gun. These are excellent guns. I love it. It's a great gun, okay? Is it a little confusing? Sure. It's a double action, single action like the Beretta that has a decocker, but also has a safety, which means you can carry it cocked and locked. You can carry it hammered down. There's a lot of different ways you can do this that's going to be slightly confusing. But we're also dealing with some, let's just say, primitive aspects of a gun that was designed a long time ago. So, no optics cut. Okay, well, sure, you can get that remedied, but for a brand new gun owner, someone's going to send their slide out and get it milled and everything else while they wait around without a gun now? Probably not. It's got a light rail, but these options are extremely limited, okay? So if you want to get a light that goes right on it, you're stuck with a TLR3 from Streamlight, which has like 130 lumens or something. Or you have to get an adapter, which is like $70. And then once you have an adapter, you can put another light on there, like a Surefire or anything else you want. But then guess what? Good luck finding holsters. There's a few companies that do make holsters, but guess what? They are going to be custom now. And now you're ordering custom holsters. And then you might decide to change your mind about which light you're using or what adapter you have. And then now you have to get another holster, right? This is an excellent gun. And for someone who knows about guns and knows what they're doing, I mean, this would be a good suggestion. But for a brand new gun owner, they're gonna walk into a logistics issue. They're gonna have problems finding holsters, lights. They're not gonna be able to use a red dot unless they get specialty work done. They're gonna find out the magazines are expensive. The compact can use VP9 magazines, but the standard USP only uses, or the full size only uses polymer HK magazines, which are proprietary to that exact platform, whereas the VP9 is something that's in production right now that I can use in this particular one. There's so much going on with that. And basically, they're gonna wish they got something else if that's the only gun they have. Because as soon as they go to start buying holsters, they're gonna run into issues. So how is this actually bad advice past that, right? I know I'm on a rant, but I hear this all the time and I don't think it's actually good advice, especially related to preparedness. If you're buying a pistol because you wanna be prepared to defend your home, defend yourself, especially in a concealed carry type of role, or even just for emergency situations, there are more important things than how it feels in your hand. And the Glock here is the best example of that. Why? Out of all the guns I just showed you, every single one on the table, this one's probably the least comfortable for me in my hand. This grip angle is the one I don't like the most. The grip itself is just when it comes to hanging on to it. It's a Glock. This gun is boring. I'm bored by this gun. Like, I wish it was cooler, but you know what? It's not. It's a Glock 19X. Well, really, it's a 19X frame with a Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS slide because there was some things I wanted to do here. But regardless, okay, this gun would be a great suggestion for just about anybody or anything similar to it for a lot of reasons. One, oh, it doesn't feel the best in my hand. You know what? Silk boxers don't feel the best either. They ride up, they go up your crack, and they get uncomfortable. But if you wear them enough, you eventually forget that that's a problem. And eventually you can just wear silk boxers. And that's exactly like the Glock. If you shoot it enough and you put it in your hand enough, that doesn't matter anymore. Because you can just get out on the range and just shoot it, and then guess what? You start just shooting it good because you're actually practicing on it. And all those preconceived issues you had when you first put it in your hand that you didn't like about it, now it's just something you're used to, right? It's like eating blue cheese. Ew, gross, mold. 2 years later, yeah, I'd like it on everything, please. So yeah, Glock, you heard it from me first. This is the blue cheese of handguns. Listen, you might like the way the Glock feels right off the bat. Good for you, you just won the logistics war. But by suggesting something like this, and I'm not saying it has to be a Glock, but with all those same parameters in mind, is it the most comfortable in your hand? Oh well, what does it have? Logistics, holsters, magazines that are affordable and accessible, a good track record of reliability from a quality manufacturer, right? So if I'm buying a pistol, and like I said, the P320 fits all those bills except for the controversies around it. It even has the modularity of letting you really swap out the way it feels in your hand, which might be a big deal to some of you apparently. But then it has all the issues that are going to cause someone to question whether or not they made a good purchase, which is why I wouldn't suggest it for a first pistol at this point. But I would say a Glock, 19 or 17 or something in between, like what I have, or Smith & Wesson M&P, or there's a few others out there. You guys list them in the comments below what you would add to that list. I mean, you even have, a lot of people are really happy with the CZ P10s. I know a lot of people like Walthers. There's also a lot of support for those guns out there, right? Even the HK VP9 allows you to have optics, allows you to mount lights, there's holster support and everything else for it. If I would have started out with a double stack modern striker fired pistol, my life would have been a lot easier as a brand new gun owner. When you go search holsters, I can find a Glock 19 compatible holster with almost any light on the market right now in 5 seconds. I can find holsters for Smith & Wesson M&Ps, no problem at all, right? All those guns are reasonable to suggest to a new shooter because they're not going to regret having it thereafter. They're lightweight, they have high capacity, they're capable in the sense of optics and lights or anything else you might want to do with them. They have current production support in place when it comes to making sure there will be additional logistics for that system, especially regarding parts and everything else. Affordability comes into mind as well, right? Like all those factors go into play. And there's some new ones on the market too now, which might even start moving the needle a little bit as well. But that's what I wish I would have been suggested to begin with. Because you know what? Those Hogue grips on that Smith & Wesson 686, I don't know if there's anything more comfortable than those out there. But I had to buy another gun like immediately thereafter because it was not capable of doing a lot of the things that I needed a handgun for. And had someone just said, hey, man, listen, you don't like how that feels in your hand, I get it. But guess what? Holsters are cheap, magazines are cheap, the ammo it uses is cheap, the gun is reliable and will work, and eventually you'll get over the fact that it doesn't feel good in your hand, and you'll probably like it and actually shoot it pretty well. If someone would have just done that for me in the beginning, my life would have been a lot easier and less expensive. But instead, I ended up with a lot of other stuff before I ever made it to that point. And that's why I wanted to share this information, because I think there is a lot of bad advice out there, and I don't think it's good advice. If you tell someone that, and they say, oh, this Sky 9mm is the way to go, great. I'm sure that's gonna go very well for them, and I'm sure they'll be happy into perpetuity with their purchase, right? Or the guy who said, oh yeah, this freaking CZ Shadow 2 that's, you know, a huge gun that's made for competition. Oh, I love this. It's a nice gun. I'm not gonna argue that. They're gonna need a different gun at some point, right? Like, let's help these newcomers out. Let's get them into easy to acquire parts and accessories. Let's get them into affordable ammunition. Let's get them into a platform that they could conceal carry as well as carry outside the waistband. Let's just help people make that decision and let them know that ergonomics, you know, they play a factor, but they shouldn't be the priority. But the gun store, especially the big box store, is going to tell you it is a priority. You know why? Because once they get that gun in your hand, they already made the sale. So, let me know your thoughts down below. I know, Magic Prepper's on one today. He's on a rant. But it's an issue for me. I don't like it. I want people to get what actually helps them when it comes to preparedness, not just what feels good in their hand, right? Because you know what? A Kimber Micro 9 might feel the best in your hand. Is that what you really want to do everything with? Of course not. But you might walk out of the store with it because that's what the guy at the counter said. And that's the problem. It's a problem, okay? So, let me know down below. I need to know your opinion on this. If you guys are interested, these are the new Warbirds. I'm a big fan. I'll have links down below as well as discount codes if you like sunglasses that meet ANSI Z87 safety standards, because, I mean, I like that. And then anything else you need from me, go to magicprepper.com. And besides that, that's going to be it for Magic Prepper.